All right. All right, let's start with grammar and turn to page 103, 103. I'm going to start there today. We're in the hundreds in the book. That's kind of cool. We're doing it. Lighten that up a little bit. So page 100. Delilah, you can go ahead and mute.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So here we have quotation marks. We're going to talk about that today. And you guys know about that. And even you've used it in some of your writings before, especially with the little red hen writing, because the hen and the other animals are doing a lot of talking back and forth, right? So we do use quotation marks. So we're going to talk about this in our grammar book, and then we'll be able to use this in our writing as well. Quotation marks indicate words are spoken. We know that. Here's a quote. Whenever we say quote, that means that's what someone is saying. So you can see right here, it says, I want the gold, and it's in quotation marks, those two little hash marks around it. That's when somebody's talking. And then it says attribution. Attribution means whoever is doing the talking. Okay, so the princess declared means the princess was talking. And then declared is just another word for said, or it's how she said it. Okay, so the quote is the sentence in quotation marks. The attribution is the person speaking and the speaking verb. So in this one, the speaking verb is declared. If the quoted sentence makes a statement, place a period inside the closing quotation mark unless the attribution follows. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can write when someone is speaking. Here, if you put the attribution first, that means who's speaking, right? Then you put a comma, and then you put their quote with a period inside the quotation mark. You see where that period is right there? But if you want to put the quote first, and then you will use a comma then if you put the quote first and then the attribution. So if I were to say, Alex said, who wants to play a game, right? That's a question, so it would be a question mark. Or let me say that again. How about if I say, Alex said, I'm going to the store. I know I always use the store as an example, but I'm going to the store. So if I say Alex said, comma, I'm going to the store, period, and then the quote on the outside. But if I said, I'm going to the store, Alex said, then I use a comma. So it depends on what order it's in. If it's the quote first and then who said it, or if it's who said it and then the quote. That determines how you will do the period and the comma. If the quoted sentence asks a question, place a question mark inside the closing quotation mark. So here's another one. I'll say, Alexis asked, who wants to play a game? So if I put Alexis asked, that's the attribution. Who wants to play a game? You put the question mark inside the quote. But if I said, who wants to play a game? Alexis asked. Then you still use a question mark here, but no comma. Okay, so it kind of depends if it's a statement or if it's a question, where the comma goes and where the end mark goes. But the end mark always goes inside the quotation mark. If the quoted sentence expresses a strong emotion, place an exclamation mark inside the closing quotation mark. So Delilah shouted, watch out. Okay, Delilah shouted, comma, watch out, exclamation point inside the quotation mark. Or I could say, watch out, Delilah shouted. Okay, so those are the two ways that you can write that with an exclamation point. Any questions about quotations or quotes? Alex?
So if it's like a question, you would put the so if you were to put the first one, like the quote, What would that one like?
Right here?
No, the other on the top.
Up here?
No, on the bottom. The middle one.
With a question or just a period? You mean right here?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your question about that?
So if you say it like I want to play, Alex said, then you would do it at the bottom, or how would you do it?
Okay, so if you wanted to say I want to play, Alex said, you would use this one here because the quote is what you said first, right? I want to play. You put a comma instead of a period, and then Alex said. Okay.
Yeah,
but if you put it first, Alex said, comma, I want to play, then you put the period.
Okay.
So either way, though, that's a good question because either way, notice the period is at the end of either way. It's at the end here or here. That's something you can always remember. But look at the comma. Either way, here is a comma between.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay. Down here, think about it. Many words can be used as different parts of speech. We know that. That means like sometimes a word can be an adjective or it could be a noun or a pronoun. I mean, it can change, right? But in the sentence, it says, however, a word can perform only one part of speech at a time. For example, running can be a verb, adjective, or a noun. So here's the example as a verb. Let's see, Alexis, can you read this example right here as a verb for running?
Yeah. The soldiers were running through the forest.
Good. The soldiers were running through the forest. So clearly that means an action. So that's a verb. In this sentence, running is a verb because it follows the helping verb were. That's the other way you know it's a verb because it says were running. A word that ends in ing functions as a verb only if it follows a helping verb. Were running or was running. That tells us it's a verb. So Delilah, can you read this one that says adjective? Read the sentence right here.
Okay. Grandma, I'm not muted. Okay, so the soldier heard running water. The sentence.
That's it, just that part. Good job. The soldiers heard running water. So right here, running is an adjective because it's describing the water, right? So Chase, we're on page 103 in grammar, okay? So turn to page 103. We're learning that sometimes words are different in different sentences, but they can only function as one part of speech in the sentence at a time, okay? So that's showing, this says running through the forest, that's an action. Running water means it's an adjective, it's describing the water. So in this sentence, running describes the water. What kind of water? Running. An adjective describes a noun or pronoun. And here, running is actually a noun. So Cassie, can you read this sentence where it says noun?
The second soldier said, running is fun.
Good. So running here, in this sentence, running is a thing. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So running is fun. So it's describing, it's telling that running is a thing and that it is fun. So notice that running is the word they used in all three of these sentences, but this one's a verb, this one's an adjective, and this one's a noun, but it can't change in the sentence. It's only used one way when it's used in a sentence. All right, let's go to the practice page on 105. 105. I got new pens today, so I'm really excited. Got to open my package because my blue pen was running out of ink. Hopefully this is going to be a good one. All right, Alexis, can you read our sentence today?
Yeah, he was hungry, so he munched on several apples.
Good. Munched is our vocabulary word today. And I think we pretty much know what munched is. It means to chew or eat something, especially in a noisy way. And apples can be noisy because they're crisp and crunchy. So that's the vocabulary word. Go ahead and put a check mark by vocabulary at the top there. And then we're going to go down market. So I'm going to start with Cassie. I need one noun. What is the noun in this sentence?
Apples.
Yes, apples. Notice we don't have our articles this time. We went right into nouns. So there's no articles in this sentence this time. But you're right, apples is the noun. We do have two pronouns. So Alexis, what are the two pronouns?
The two pronouns is he and he.
He and he, good. He and he. Adjectives, Alex, there's two.
It's munched.
Not munched. No, that would actually be a verb. Look for the nouns. So here we have apple. What would describe the apple?
Several.
Yeah, there you go.
And hungry.
There you go. And hungry. What is hungry describing, Alex?
He was hungry.
So he was hungry. It's describing him. Good. Those are the two adjectives. We have a coordinating conjunction. So Delilah, do you remember the conjunction function or conjunction junction? What's your function? Do you remember what those words are that connect parts of sentences together? Kinda. Do you remember, who remembers the acronym to that? I see Cassie's hand. What's the acronym?
Fanboys.
Fanboys. Good, Cassie. Let's put that right here just to help us remember. Fan boys. Remember that, Delilah, where each letter stood for a word? Remember, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so?
Yes.
Okay, good. So which one is the coordinating conjunction in this sentence?
Right there.
Say the word.
Here. It says so.
Good. Good job, Delilah. So we'll put CC on top of so. Very good. And then prepositional phrases. Let's go to Chase on that. You remember the prepositional phrases?
He munched on several apples.
Yes, good, Chase. You got it. On several apples. On is a preposition. So the phrase is on several apples. Good. And then subject verb pairs. I'm going to go back to Cassie. Let's look for the verbs first. There's two of them.
Munched.
Munched for sure, yes. And then there's a helping verb.
Was?
Yes, you got it. So if you ask yourself who munched, what's the subject?
He.
He, right here, good. And then this part here was who was in this part?
Hungry? I mean he.
He, there you go. Yep. Is that what you were going to say, Alex?
Yes.
Okay. I saw your hand there and I thought you were thinking that. Good. Okay. Those are the two subject verb pairs. So he was and he munched. Those are the subject verb pairs. Now we're down to the capital, which is that first letter, and then end mark is a period, easy peasy cheesy. Go ahead and write your sentence at the bottom.
And then.
Okay, good.
Done.
Did you write yours, Delilah? Yeah, okay, good. Looks like Chase might still be writing. If you're done, you can close up your grammar book. We're done with this part. you will need your homework in front of you. So your paragraphs from the Little Red Hen and your checklist and the original story from the Little Red Hen and your keyword outline. So everything that you have that you're working with in the front of your binder, go ahead and get those out in front of you. And you did paragraphs 2 and 3 for your homework today, or for this week. So we're going to talk about that. Chase, are you still writing your sentence? I'm going to have you first. And Chase, if you're still working, if you're almost done, go ahead and finish. But if you have more to do, you can finish that after class, because I don't want you to get behind here. Go ahead and look at your keyword outline. Let's look at that for a minute. And this is for the Little Red Hen. And we worked on this last week in class. Give me a thumbs up if you have your outline in front of you. Good, good.
I didn't see the last video, so I did not do the other 2 paragraphs.
Okay, that's okay. You can just listen to this part because you'll watch that and catch up. So, Alex, do you have a question?
Yeah. I also forgot to do the last 2 paragraphs. We were gonna do it like 2 days ago or last night. Yeah, last night because we were almost done. And then my mom went to go to the store and we forgot.
So that's okay, but you have your outline though, right? We did do that last week.
Yeah, I'm finished with all my outline.
Okay, good. So you'll have a chance to catch up, but it's good for you to still look at the outline. We're going to talk about this because I've noticed that a lot of students, several students, are still struggling with how to use this outline with your paragraphs. Okay, so I want to actually explain this again to you guys, how to use your outline for your paragraph. So what I'm going to do, and you don't have to get an extra sheet. I just want you to watch what I'm doing right now. Okay. And I'm going to cover up part of this outline, and I'm just going to look at Roman numeral 1. Do you see that there's a Roman numeral 1 and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that makes 5 altogether, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines that we have our key words on. That means this is a paragraph right here. So every time you see, oops, hold on, can't see that, can you? Let me back out.
The light right there, the light that's glaring on the plastic looks like Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah, it's my fan. It's got like 3 lights together, but that's cute. Anyway, okay, back to this. So this represents one whole paragraph. On your outline, I want you with your pencil to just draw a box around just that first one. Do you see? And you can write paragraph here on the outside. Go ahead and I want you to write that. So paragraph 1 is the first paragraph of your story. And raise your hand if you know how many sentences, looking at these, how many sentences should you have in your first paragraph? Alex.
At least 4 or 5.
Okay, there's an exact number here though.
5.
Okay, 5. Because you count that as a sentence. Roman numeral 1 is one sentence. That's the first sentence. And then 2, 3, 4, 5. So over here on the side, hopefully you have room. Put equals 5 sentences. Now, the reason why we start with a Roman numeral 1 is because that is the topic sentence. And the next unit that we're going to go into, we're going to talk a lot about topics, okay? But because this starts the paragraph, it has a special number. It's a Roman numeral 1. And then these others are sentences that support that topic sentence. But I want you to pay attention that really there are 4 sentences or 5 sentences total here. So, and you don't have to write this part down, just watch me on this. If I look at Roman numeral 1, I see LRH. What does that stand for again? LRH? You can just
Little red hen.
unmute and say it. Yeah.
Little red hen.
Little red hen. And then Delilah, if I were to look at these right here, I have LRH, nice, busy chickies. How can I make that into a complete sentence?
Probably. Little red hen was nice and busy. She had chickens.
Okay. And since this is that was good, Delilah, by the way, very good. Since this is the very first sentence of my story, I need something like once upon a time or one day. So I'm going to start by, first, we have our name and date. You don't have to write this. You can just watch me here. I'm just going to show you how your homework should look. Okay. Little red hen. And then I'm going to start here and I'm going to indent and I'm going to put once upon a time, there was, I'm skipping a line, a little red hen who was nice and often, I'm going to change it to this, busy with her chickies. Okay, do you notice I indented because this is a paragraph? A lot of you are forgetting that. When you write a paragraph, that first sentence needs to have a space. And then the rest of the sentences go along that red line. That is the first sentence. I'm going to put a check mark there because I did that sentence. Now I'm moving on to this one. It says cat, lazy, napped. Okay, Alexis, give me a sentence with cat, lazy, and napped.
The cat was so lazy, he napped all day.
Okay, so if I just go right into the cat was so lazy, it napped all day, the reader might go, well, we were just talking about a hen and her chickies, and now all of a sudden we're talking about a lazy cat. So you have to think about how am I going to transition from one sentence into another sentence. It looks like Alex has an idea. What do you think? How do we introduce the cat?
You can put where the little red hen lived, there was a cat that laid lazily in the barnyard.
Okay, where the little red hen lived, there was a cat. Okay, you could say that.
I put there was a lazy cat that normally slept in the barn door.
Okay, I might say that's a good one. I might say in the barn, I'm going to say this, in the barn with the hen was a lazy cat that, or I could say actually who loved to nap. So I got cat, lazy, and nap. Notice in my keyword outline, I have napped, past tense with the ED, but here I just use nap. That's okay. When you're writing your stories, as long as you use the base word from your keyword outline, you can change it a little bit. You can even say snooze or something like that. You don't have to use exactly the same word. This outline is to help you remember what that sentence was about. Okay, so here, once upon a time, there was a little red hen who was nice and often busy with her chickies. In the barn with the hen was a lazy cat who loved to nap. Okay, do you see how I connected the characters? Remember, we're doing a story sequence chart, and that first paragraph is introducing all of the characters. But some of you tend to say, there was a cat, and the cat was lazy and napped. There was a pig. There was a rat. And if you say there was too many times, the reader gets bored, okay? I'm just going to be honest. And that's part of what I'm teaching you in this class is how to have style to your writing. So do not use the same words over and over and over again. It's hard because that's how we used to write. So I'm trying to help you get away from that. And now think of other ways to say things and to tie in the sentences together. So I used those 3 words. Now I'm on to this one. So Delilah, let's see, I already had Delilah do one. Chase, how about number 2 here? Pig, sleeping, eating, and looking at how we started this story so far, how can we include a sentence about the pig next that's sleeping and eating? What do you think, Chase? Chase, you're muted. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. Do you have an idea? I can't really hear you, Chase. Can you, do you have something covering your microphone?
I don't have an idea.
Oh, okay. So my question for you, Chase, I'm going to see if you can try it. Look at number 2 right here where it says pig, sleeping, eating. You see that? How can you make a sentence with pig, sleeping, and eating to go with this paragraph?
The pig slept lazily and kept on eating.
The pig slept lazily and kept on eating. Okay, that's pretty good. And you have here in the barn with the hen was a lazy cat who loved to nap. So we need to now introduce the pig, right? We don't want to just go right into the pig was sleeping because the reader's like, wait, where did the pig come from? Okay, let's say this, the pig, and I'm going to just say the pig was outside eating and he can't be eating and sleeping at the same time, right? So maybe he's eating and later he went to sleep or something like that. I'm making it up as I go, okay? But notice how I said the pig was outside. So I'm giving a visual to the reader. I'm not just saying there was a pig, there was a hen, there was a cat. Okay, I'm kind of giving a visual of what's happening in the story. So now we have, once upon a time, there was a little red hen who was nice and often busy with her chickies. In the barn with the hen was a lazy cat who loved to nap. The pig was outside eating and later he went to sleep. Okay, so now we have that sentence. And now we're introducing a rat. And the rat was prideful and carefree. So now I can say something about the rat. I can say now, there was also a rat who was prideful and carefree. All right. Last, got that one. One more sentence is farmyard, wheat, and seed. So now I can say, while, whoops, hold on. I didn't skip a line there. There we go. While the other animals were busy, hen found a wheat seed in the farmyard. Okay. Now, going back to our outline, I used that in a sentence, farmyard, wheat, and seed. Now, check it out, guys. That is my paragraph. Look how much of the paper it took up. And if you count my periods, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines that have my keywords. I'm doing this really slow and I'm breaking it down for you guys because some of you are still not getting this and you're turning in paragraphs that have like 3 sentences. These each represent a sentence. So look at this one. Well, before we look at the next one, let me read my paragraph here. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen who was nice and often busy with her chickies. In the barn with the hen was a lazy cat who loved to nap. The pig was outside eating and later he went to sleep. There was also a rat who was prideful and carefree. While the other animals were busy, Hen found a wheat seed in the farmyard. So that is my number 1 paragraph. Now you would do the same thing for Roman numeral 2 and 3. So on your notes, on your keyword outline, this is your story sequence chart. Put a box around number 2 and put paragraphic in here. And then put equals 5 sentences. And then do that for number 3. Paragraph equals 5 sentences. How many paragraphs will I have when I'm done writing this story? Show me on your hands in the Zoom. How many paragraphs will I have when I'm done writing my story? Good. You should have the number 3 up in the Zoom right now. Good. 3 paragraphs. How many sentences should I have in each paragraph according to this story sequence chart? Good. I see 5. Yes, you should have 5 sentences in each paragraph. Very good. Now, sometimes I call this a keyword outline, and sometimes I call it a story sequence chart. This is either one, okay? We can use those words interchangeably because this story sequence chart follows the rules like we learned. That first paragraph introduces the characters and the setting. The middle paragraph talks about the conflict and the problem. And then the last paragraph talks about the climax and the solution. That we talked about that a lot in class. We don't have those notes on the side anymore because we want to have more space to write our words out. But I want you to see this is how you write your paragraphs. Now I want you to look at your checklist. And I'm just going to put this up. This is my paragraph that I wrote. Look at your checklist. Whoops, let me show you this one. Okay. And this one I made a copy of so I can actually write on this one. You're going to fill in your name here. And then the source text is actually the little red hen. So if you haven't written that in yet, go ahead and write that in now. The little red hen. This is your checklist. Alex, do you have a question?
You know how you never put your your name on the name? You should just put your name on there.
I could, yeah. I just leave it blank so that you guys can put your name there. Okay, now we're going to look at the checklist. Everybody have your checklist in front of you. Give me a thumbs up if you have your checklist. Good, 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 good. It's page 69 from your binder, okay? We'll put a little more light on that. The first one says name and date in upper left-hand corner. Let me check. Do I have that? Well, technically I have a line here, but yes, I have that, right? You're going to have your name and date. So I'm going to put a check in that box. So look at your homework and see if you have your name and date on the upper left-hand corner. If you do, put a check in that box. The next one says composition is double spaced. Let me look. Hey, yes, it is. I double spaced it. So I can put a check mark there. Check. Composition double spaced. Next one. What does this one say, Delilah? Right here.
It says the title centered and repeats 1 out of 3 keys from the final sentence.
1 to 3 keywords from the final sentence. Now, I only have my first paragraph, so I can't put a check mark there yet. But you should have all 3 paragraphs in front of you because you did all of your homework. Some of you did. And if you're done with writing all 3 paragraphs from your outline, that means it's time to come up with a new title. Okay. And I am not going to put a check mark here on mine because I didn't finish it yet. I only did my first paragraph. So I have to come back to that one and then go on to the next one. Chase, what does this one say?
Story follows story sequence chart.
Good. And looking back on my story sequence chart, yeah, I even put check marks here. I know I used these words in my paragraph, so I'm going to check that. I did. I followed the story sequence chart. Here, the next one says, Cassie, go ahead and read this one.
Each paragraph contains at least 4 sentences.
Okay, so each paragraph, I've only done 1 paragraph so far. I know my first paragraph has 5 sentences, but I'm not going to check that yet because I'm not done with all my paragraphs yet. And then this one here, this last one, you don't have to worry about that. In fact, let's just draw a line through that one because that's only if you are turning it into me in an actual classroom. That's when you would use that one. You would turn it in like that. Now here under style, we have paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. These are super important, you guys. This is how I grade your homework. Some of you didn't get a very good grade because you forgot to do this. Some of you, I gave you a grade of only 4 or 5 points out of 10. And that's not a good grade. But I put a note in your homework on Google Classroom telling you what you need to fix and giving you a second chance. So what you can do is fix those things and turn it back into me, and I will make your grade better. Okay, I'm giving you a second chance. But look here, paragraph 1, that's all I'm going to focus on because I only wrote 1 paragraph so far. Do I have an ly adverb? Well, I don't. So that means I got to add one. Now, an adverb is adding to a verb. Some of you are confused about that as well. So the best way to do this is to look for a verb first, okay? I have some helping verbs like was. I have loved, that's a verb. I have eating. I have sleep. So I've got some good verbs in here. So I'm going to pick eating, right here, eating. And I'm going to add an adverb right here. How can I describe how the pig was eating? Anybody have a good adverb word for me that would describe how the pig was eating? Cassie, what do you think?
Roughly.
Roughly, what do you think, Delilah?
Maybe like the sentence would be like, the pig was outside happily eating.
Good, I like that. And later went to sleep. I like that, happily, that's a good one. Alex, what do you think? What's an adverb I could use there?
Delilah stole it. I was going to say happily.
Let's do that, happily. Now, did you see how I put a little caret here? That's the little arrow. And that's why I have this double space so I can add words. But now I have my ly adverb, and guess what? I need to underline it. This is another thing you guys are forgetting. Underline your adverb. So here, you'll see right here, underline one of each. So now I have an ly adverb in my first paragraph. I'm going to put a check there, and I underlined it. There it is. I'm done with that one. By the way, this pink list, use this. In fact, happily is right here on my list. You can use this list when you're trying to think of a good adverb and you're kind of stuck. Maybe your writing juices in your brain aren't really working great. Maybe you need to go to this list to help you come up with a good ly adverb. So that was good. Okay, now Who, which clause is next? And I think I have a couple of them that I naturally put in here. There's one right here. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen who was nice and often busy with her chickies. I'm just going to underline who. I don't need to underline the whole clause. I'm just going to underline who. Guess what? I have another one here, but I don't need to underline both. I only need to underline one. Okay, so I underline that one. And I can put a check mark now for paragraph 1 under next to who was. Now I have a strong verb. Okay, some of you are still kind of learning strong verbs. They're the words that show action, but that tell the reader a little bit more description about what's happening. So a verb is something that is an action, but a strong verb tells the reader a little bit more. Like maybe I can say, let's pick a verb here. I'm going to say, who loved to nap. I could change that maybe to enjoyed. Or I could say, what's another verb I could look for? Oh, here's a good one. Found. Hen found a wheat seed. I'm picking this one because found is a good word. It's a good verb, but I think I could make it even better. So a stronger verb could be like discovered or uncovered. Let's say she was out doing her thing and eating the worms and bugs that they do in the dirt, you know, and they scratch and they peck and they scratch and they peck. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, this is a seed. This is a wheat seed. So maybe she uncovered it from the dirt. We don't know. We can make that up, right? So I'm going to actually cross out found and put uncovered. Now, I also need to underline uncovered because that's a dress-up word. I need to make sure I underline that because that's what my instructions say on my checklist. So do you see how uncovered gives the reader a little bit more of a visual of what the hen is doing, not just found. She uncovered, maybe she was in leaves or something, or maybe like up here in Tehachapi, we have snow. Maybe she's like going through the snow, trying to find bugs and worms and stuff. And then all of a sudden she found, so she uncovered it. Okay, that's a good strong verb. So a strong verb tells the reader a little bit more of the visual, an image of what's happening in the story. So, all right, I got my strong verb. I'm going to put a check mark. Now the rest of them, it says right here, check for banned words. Say, said, see, saw, think, thought, go, went. Now, I'm going to go through this, and I would take longer because we're running out of time, but at home, you would read it again and look for those words. Think, thought, seesaw, and say, said. I don't have anybody talking yet, so I didn't use that yet. Think, thought, go, went. Did I use went anywhere? No, I used was outside. Oh, I did. Went to sleep. Uh-oh. Went is one of my banned words, and I just found it. So I got to cross out went. I can't use it. It's a banned word. So what can I use in place of went? Does anybody have an idea? And remember, on our blue page, we wrote down some ideas. If you want to go back and look at your blue page, maybe from there you can tell me a good one we could use instead of went to sleep. What else could I say instead of went to sleep? Any ideas? What's another way to say went to sleep?
Fallen asleep?
Fell. Very good. That's it. That's what I was thinking too. Fell. I can put fell right there. The pig was outside happily eating, and later he fell. Uh-oh, now it doesn't make sense. Fell to sleep. I need to fix that. What should I say instead of to sleep? He fell What do you think, Cassie?
Asleep.
Asleep. That makes more sense. He fell asleep. There we go. So now I have, once upon a time, there was a little red hen who was nice and often busy with her chickies. In the barn with the hen was a lazy cat who loved to nap. The pig was outside happily eating, and later he fell asleep. There was also a rat who was prideful and carefree while the other animals were busy. Hen uncovered a wheat seed in the farmyard. Now, I got to underline, oh, no, I already underlined all of mine. See, I have 1, 2, 3 things underlined. And I have 1, 2, 3 dress ups. But I did check for my banned words, and it's a good thing because I had one on there. It says, you know, I can take off points for that if you accidentally used a banned word. So really try hard not to use a banned word. I have my capitalization. My end marks are there. My sentences make sense. I've read it a bunch of times. And then my spelling is pretty good. You want to check with your mom and dad or whoever in your house to help you with your spelling. Okay, so here's my checklist. Everything is checked except for a title because I'm not done yet. And each paragraph contains at least 4 sentences. Well, I don't know because I only have 1 paragraph so far. But once I write paragraph 2 and 3, I can check those things. So here's the deal, guys. That I just walked you through how to use your checklist. This is super duper duper uber important, okay? This is how I grade your homework. If I don't see these things here, and I don't mind if you turn it in like this, it's a little messy. I've got words crossed out. I got words added in here. That's okay. But you have to have all of these parts in order to get a good grade on your homework. It might be a pretty good paragraph without these things, but I'm still not going to give you a good grade because this is what I'm looking for. Okay. Any questions about what we just talked about, how to use the checklist and all that? Do you guys have any questions? So from now on, I'm going to have you also take a picture or scan your checklist, and you got to turn that in with your homework too, because I want to see that you actually physically checked all these little boxes. Now, when I go on to paragraph 2, I'm going to check that I have these 3 things. And then when I go on to paragraph 3, I'm going to check, make sure I have those things, and also check for banned words in your other paragraphs. Okay, so you're going to, Cassie, I don't know if you heard that, but you're going to turn in your checklist from now on too. And I want to see little check marks in your boxes so that I can tell that you
it had like kicked me out or something.
That was weird. I saw that. I don't know what happened.
Her screen like multiplied and then there was 2 screens that were stuck.
I saw that. All right. So here's your homework. You guys are going to do your grammar pages, those next 3 pages, which is 106, 107, and 108. And then you are going to go back to your little red hen story and fix it. Okay. I think Delilah, I have to say that I think Delilah is the only one in this class that actually did all of her dress up words. And I haven't checked in her banned words yet, but I haven't seen any yet. I'm going to check one more time. But Delilah, you did great. You remembered your checklist and you got all those words, the who, which, the ly adverb, and the strong verb in your story. So good job, Delilah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I love that you pay attention to those details. And that's what I want everybody else to work on. And I'm going to have you go back and fix on your little red hen those things. So Delilah, you get a little break this week because you already remembered all of your dress up words in your story. So good job. And then everybody else is going to go back and make sure that you did everything on your checklist. And remember the title, you can't put little red hen anymore at the top. What was your title, Delilah? I know you changed your title. What did you pick?
It says Brats and Me.
Wait, it says what?
Brats and Me.
Brats and Me.
My auntie always used to call me Brat when I was younger.
That's cute.
It's a little joke, so that's why I did.
That was a little joke.
Yeah, I know, that's cute. Brats.
She didn't mean it when she
So the brats were the pig and the cat and the rat, right? Because they didn't help. So they were being brats. That's a good one, Delilah. That's cute. And it's catchy, right? And
I should have said the lazy brat in me. I should have said that.
you could do that. That would be just as good. All right. So I want to make sure, I know Delilah's got it. I want to see a thumbs up from everybody else if you know what to do with your story now. Give me a thumbs up in the camera or virtual. That's fine. Good. Okay. So your homework is to go back, use your checklist, and make sure all of these things are in your Little Red Hen story. And then I want you to also take a picture or scan your checklist and add that to your homework assignment. And I'll put it all in Google Classroom when I write that assignment. Okay, next week, we are going to transition from these little stories about characters, the animals, and they're kind of funny and things that happen in the story. We're going to transition to more like writing a report where you have information and you're going to take information and do like a summary about something you read. So it's going to change next week into a new unit, Unit 4, and it's called Writing from a Reference or Writing a Report. Okay, so that's going to be pretty fun. And you can use that, when you're doing other reports too. We'll talk about that next week. Okay, any final things you guys want to say or any questions anybody has about anything? We're a couple minutes early. Delilah?
I want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Delilah. Good job. You're working really hard. Everybody else, you guys are doing good too. You're working hard. You just are missing a few things. So that's what I'm trying to get you to see is what you're missing. And you got to like ramp it up a little bit. Have you heard that phrase before? Ramp it up. It's basically like making sure you do all the little details so that you can get a really good grade, because I'm going to start deducting points from your grade now. So that's the thing. You guys got to make sure you follow that checklist. I can't emphasize that enough. Okay. Anybody else have anything to say before we go? No. Alexis says no. Nope. I don't know what happened to Chase. Are you there, Chase? Oh, there he is, the top of his head. Do you have any questions, Chase? Nope, you're good. All right, you guys, then that's it. I'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. See you next week.
I'm never gonna leave.